Welcome back, fellow explorers of history. Today we step away from the tales of kings and the legends of battles, and instead walk quietly into the heart of early Rome, not into palaces or temples, but into the homes of ordinary families. Here, among the smoke of hearth fires and the laughter of children, we discover what life was truly like during the earliest centuries of Rome. It is in these modest huts on the dusty paths of hilltop settlements that the Roman character was forged. So join me now as we wander through the daily rhythm of early Rome and meet the people whose lives laid the foundation for a civilization that would one day rule the world. In the 7th and 6th centuries BCE, Rome was not yet the city of marble and glory we imagine today. Instead, it was a rugged cluster of settlements, perched upon its 7 hills, surrounded by forests, rivers, and farmland. On the Palatine Hill, huts made of wood and clay huddled together, their thatched roofs of straw swaying in the wind. Smoke curled upward from central hearths, rising into the sky as the morning sun lit the valleys below. The streets were narrow paths of beaten earth, winding between the houses and leading down toward the marshy basin that would one day become the Roman Forum. Life here was simple, but it was full, and above all, it was deeply rooted in family and tradition. The Roman home was not grand. Most families lived in a single-room hut, built with a wooden frame packed with clay and mud, a structure both humble and practical. Inside, space was sparse, but vital. A hearth burned at the center of the room, its fire carefully maintained throughout the day and night. This was no ordinary fire. It was the soul of the home, a sacred flame watched over by the family as if it were alive. To let it die was more than carelessness. It was a bad omen, a rupture in the bond between family and gods. Around the hearth, daily life unfolded. Children played in the flickering light, women prepared meals in clay pots, and men gathered to speak of crops, trade, or the affairs of neighbors. The Roman family was a world of order, governed by the figure of the Paterfamilias, the father. His authority was absolute, stretching from property to discipline, from legal matters to the very lives of those within his household. Yet this power was balanced by responsibility. He was protector, priest, and provider, expected to safeguard not only his living family, but also the spirits of his ancestors. His wife shared in this sacred duty. She kept the rhythm of the home steady, managed the work of weaving, cooking, and storing food, and taught her daughters the skills they would one day need to manage households of their own. Meals were simple, but significant. The staple dish of early Rome was pulse, a thick porridge made from emmer wheat or barley, flavored with vegetables, beans, or cheese when available. Bread was still uncommon, though flat cakes cooked on stones sometimes appeared on the table. Meat was rare, usually reserved for festivals or special occasions, but pork, goat, or sheep were eaten when fortune allowed. More often, Romans dined on lentils, chickpeas, broad beans, olives, and whatever fruits the season provided. Honey sweetened their food, while wine, always diluted with water, was a daily companion at the table. Before the family ate, offerings were made to the household gods, small tokens of gratitude to the spirits that guarded the home. Children grew up in a world of duty and discipline. Boys followed their fathers into the fields, learning how to plow, sow, and harvest, or, if the family were craftsmen, to forge, carve, or trade. They were taught loyalty, courage, and reverence for tradition. Girls stayed closer to the hearth, learning to weave wool into thread to prepare food and to care for younger siblings. Their future lay in marriage, often arranged to strengthen ties between families. Yet childhood was not without joy. Clay dolls, carved animals, and simple dice have been found in the soil of ancient Rome, reminders that play was as natural to them as to children today. On sunny days, boys might race or wrestle near the Tiber, while girls sang songs as they spun wool or gathered herbs. Work filled the days of early Rome. Most families were farmers, rising at dawn to tend fields and flocks. Men and older boys worked the land, guided by oxen and primitive plows, while women spun wool, wove cloth, and prepared meals from the harvest. Craftsmen, Potters, blacksmiths, carpenters supported the community with their skills, while traders carried goods across hills and rivers to neighboring towns. Archaeology reveals the tools of this daily labor: grinding stones worn smooth by years of use, bronze sickles, pottery jars for storing grain, and loom weights for weaving cloth. These objects, silent yet eloquent, tell us of lives built upon hard work and resilience. Religion was inseparable from daily life. Within every home stood a small shrine to the Lares and Penates, the spirits of the ancestors and guardians of the hearth. Each morning and evening, prayers and offerings of bread or wine were made, binding the family to its past and future. The Paterfamilias acted as priest, leading rituals with solemn words and gestures passed down through generations. Life outside the home was also filled with ritual. Festivals marked the cycles of planting and harvest, the phases of the moon, and the turning of seasons. Through these rituals, Romans sought to secure the favor of the gods in every task, from sowing seeds to raising children. The archaeology of early Rome helps us see these lives more clearly. On the Palatine Hill, the remains of huts show us the outlines of homes, their shapes preserved in the soil. In graves we find men buried with weapons, women with jewelry or weaving tools, children with small toys, objects chosen not by chance, but to honor the roles they played in life. Imported pottery from Greece and Etruria speaks of trade and cultural exchange, while simple local wares remind us of the humbler side of existence. Together, these fragments sketch the portrait of a people who lived with both hardship and hope, shaping a society that would endure for centuries. Imagine, if you will, an ordinary day in early Rome. The sun rises over the hills, and smoke drifts from dozens of hearths. Women stir porridge in clay pots as children rub sleep from their eyes. Men shoulder their tools and step into the fields, the earth still cool beneath their feet. By midday, the family gathers again, eating simply but together, before work resumes under the afternoon sun. As dusk falls, animals are gathered, fires are lit, and prayers are whispered at the shrine. The family sits together, sharing food, stories, and laughter, until the fire burns low and sleep takes them beneath their thatched roof. It is a life of labor, but also of connection, between family, ancestors, gods, and land. In these homes, around these hearths and through these daily routines, Rome was forged. It was here, in the small acts of ordinary life, that the values of discipline, family honor, and devotion to duty were instilled. These men and women did not know that their descendants would conquer an empire. They knew only their hills, their fields, their gods, and their kin. Yet from these humble beginnings came the resilience and unity that allowed Rome not only to survive, but to rise above every challenge. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the homes and lives of ordinary Romans. If you enjoyed stepping into their kitchens, walking their fields, and sitting by their hearths, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell so you never miss an episode. And be sure to join us next time as we explore our sixth topic, religion and mythology in early Rome, where we will uncover the gods, rituals, and myths that shaped the Roman soul from its very beginning. Until then, keep exploring. Because history is never finished, it is alive in every story we tell.